Hey everybody, let's do some math today. Just a little bit though. The bait maker is a brand new item added in Stardew Valley's 1.6 patch. Unlike the fish smoker and dehydrator, which we already covered over the past couple videos, the bait maker doesn't create an end product to sell, it just helps the player catch specific fish. Today I want to look at a few use cases for the bait maker because it's not as simple as just use it for any high value fish you want. If you're just here for the TLDR though, the bait maker is best used for valuable fish that already have a decent catch rate. Things like catfish are great. For most fish, the catch rate is multiplied by 1.66, which means super rare fish don't actually increase in catch rate too much. There are some exceptions, especially in regards to mines fish, which appear to get a flat modifier instead of a percentage. If you're confident with your fishing skill, using the bait maker with a curiosity lure and quality bobber during the extended family quest can get pretty ridiculous. Try it with the Legend 2, for example, and laugh maniacally as you pull in fish worth 42,000 gold each when smoked. If that's all you needed, thanks for stopping in, and it would be really cool of you to like the video on the way out. If you're not subbed yet, you could even consider that. The bait maker recipe is available through Level Up, so you'll get it for free just for hitting fishing level 6. That's pretty fantastic since the dehydrator and fish smoker both cost 10,000 gold just to get the recipe. You'll need 3 iron bars, 3 coral, and 1 sea urchin of any quality. This means that fixing the bridge in the first week is probably worth it at this point if you're pushing fishing levels, since you could possibly get the forage you need if you can make it there by Saturday the 6th before the forage resets. Sea urchins account for about 1/5 of the forage spawns in the tide pool area, so giving yourself even 1 extra week could help. Either way, once you've got those items, you're good to go. Placing a fish of any kind into the bait maker will produce between 5 and 10 bait targeted for the fish you used, and thankfully it only takes 10 minutes. The bait itself is worth 10% of the base fish price, but attaching it to the rod increases your chance to catch that fish by 66%. This is really strong, right? You take your base chance to catch any particular fish and multiply it by 1.66. I don't have a spreadsheet for this because the chance to catch a fish at any given moment is a little nebulous, but I can give you some guidelines and show you some footage with a couple of calcs. Let's consider probably the first fish that comes to mind when we talk about the bait maker, at least for me, catfish. Catfish appear only on rainy days, and you can find them in the river in spring and fall. They actually also show up in the secret woods and the witch's swamp during any rainy weather, but that's a little more niche. I installed a predictor mod here to show you a couple figures. Our base chance to catch a catfish right now is 40%, and the fact that these percentages don't add up to 100, by the way, is correct. Stardew calculates fish catch chances not as a range, but as a weight. The short version is that this is working as intended, though. When we make and attach catfish bait to our rod, the weight goes up from 40% to 66.4%. If you've used catfish bait in the rain in Spring Year 1, you might feel like it's much higher than that, to be honest, but that's because of the weighting system. Regardless, that's a really nice boost. Even if it was a flat percentage chance, 66% would be pretty stellar. I think this is where the bait machine shines. It turns catches that were already decently common into practically guaranteed. I've had really good luck with catfish, largemouth bass, super cucumbers, etc. None of these are exceedingly rare, they're all worth a decent amount of money, especially smoked with artisan, and they're not too challenging to find. I've also seen the sturgeon brought up in conversation, though I haven't tried that out personally. Your confidence with fishing will obviously affect what kind of fish you chase, but there are lots of options. Unfortunately, this predictor mod that I'm using seems a little borked for the legendaries and the cave fish, but I want to touch on those real quick, along with an interesting lure interaction. I've had a few people reach out regarding the stonefish in particular, since it's relatively easy to get to level 20 in the mines quickly, and the price of stonefish is really competitive. So the other night during stream, I spent a few in-game hours just doing some anecdotal testing, and it wasn't too impressive. One stonefish without targeted bait took us most of our time there, and even after we got the max possible targeted bait, we never saw another. Again, this is just anecdotal, especially since the wiki references the game code and says we should have had a 17.5% chance to catch our stonefish once we had bait attached. If I were willing to spend more time there, I'd likely have better results. Still, I think I'd prefer a little less time catching trash in my day. If we're hooking a stonefish roughly 1/6 of the time and we're getting between 5 to 10 stonefish bait each time we process one, we're barely scraping ahead as far as the numbers go. And since most of our bycatch here is trash, you can't even rely on the rest of the fish you're catching to prop up the income, like you can with super cucumbers, where you also find halibut pretty often, or lionfish. Adding a curiosity lure to this combo would bring your catch rate up to 22.5%, which is getting quite a bit better. And again, I say this for the third time, my experience here is anecdotal. It's possible that you'll have a fantastic and profitable time hunting stonefish. Let's talk about legendary fish though, specifically the extended family quest, and even more specifically, the Legend 2. The extended family quest from Mr. Key sets a 3-day timer for you to catch a second version of the original legendary fish in the same places where you found them. The fun thing about this is that unlike the original legendaries, these ones can be caught more than once as long as the quest is active. That means you could, in theory, park yourself up in the mountain lake for 3 days in a row hunting Legend 2s and ignoring the rest of the quest. And let's chat about that curiosity lure because that actually makes a pretty significant difference here. Again, my mod isn't reflecting this, which is kind of sad, but you go from 10% without the lure to 20% with it. And then you add your targeted bait, meaning that you should be seeing the Legend 2 about a third of the time that you're casting. If you add a quality bobber, assuming you have the advanced iridium rod from Mastery, you'll make each of those fish an iridium Legend 2, and that is a lot of money. In my footage here, I don't even have Angler because I was hunting for artifacts, but I'm making 35,000 for this Legend 2, and that would increase to 42,000 assuming you do have both Artisan and Angler. I'm not claiming to be the world's greatest fisher, but I was able to pull in a couple of these in a few hours at the lake. Extrapolate that out over 3 days, and I'd be looking at hundreds of thousands of gold. If the legend sounds intimidating, but you still want to take advantage of high-priced fish like this, the Son of Crimson Fish and Radioactive Carp are both going to give you an easier time, and both will work with the Curiosity Lure, Quality Bobber, Baitmaker, Angler, and Artisan build for 12,600 a pop for Son of Crimson Fish and 8,400 for the Radioactive Carp. For whatever reason, the Glacier Fish and the Glacier Fish Jr. don't interact with the Curiosity Lure, plus they're my least favorite fish to catch anyway. Miss Angler is quite a bit easier than the rest in my opinion, and earns 7,560 each if smoked, so that's not terrible either. Finally, I wanted to point out the caldera on Ginger Island and lava eels. The lava eels here don't interact with the Curiosity Lure, so you won't get an additional bite chance from that like you would in the mines. Additionally, in 1.5, the catch rate at full cast was supposed to be 50%. With targeted bait, I would assume that would bring your catch rate to 83%. But I think there's something wrong here. I'm actually still only getting about 50% even with targeted bait. I'm not sure if that's luck, a different interaction than I expected, or a nerf in 1.6. I don't think that these are as good as I originally mentioned in streams and previous videos, so I wanted to apologize if you had pursued that route with my bad info. That's not to say it's worthless, just not as good as I probably made it out to be. Anyway, we had a TLDR at the beginning of the video, and here's the more medium-length version of that same information. The bait maker consumes one fish to produce between 5 and 10 bait targeted to that specific fish. Targeted bait increases your bite chance for that fish by 1.66 or 66%, though there are apparently some exceptions to the rule as some mines fish appear to get a flat bonus to their bite rate instead. Because the targeted bait is calculated multiplicatively, it performs best when it's used on fish that already have a decent hook rate like catfish or super cucumbers. Combining the targeted bait with a quality bobber can help you pull in vast quantities of iridium quality fish that otherwise might be challenging to catch perfectly, and the Curiosity Lure pairs exceptionally well with both targeted bait and the quality bobber to go hunting for some very profitable legendary fish during the extended family quest. If you have thoughts about what we should examine next, or if I missed anything, let me know in the comments. I'm leaning towards mushroom logs personally, but either way, thanks for watching.